What is going on, all of you happy drillers out there in the world? I'm Mega Amster. Thank you for checking out this video here. Whether you are a new or returning viewer, appreciate you spending the time here just for a little bit. And today I'm going to talk about my time that I spent with the game Pepper Grinder, which is an indie game that it was weird. I was looking it up. It said it came out last year. However, from what I did for the research, it was originally supposed to come out last year in 2023, but then came out in March of 2024, I believe, or May. One of those months. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But as far as I'm aware, this game came out this year, published by Devolver Digital, developed by MP2 Games. And I wanted to kind of talk about my thoughts with this little indie game because I'd heard great things about it. I decided to buy a couple indie games on a whim that came out this year to just to check out more indie games. And this is definitely a great one to check out. The 8-bit aesthetic style, the pixel art looks great. The music is fantastic, and it just has a really good sense of momentum that I really appreciate. So I'm going to have like a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section later on at the end of the video, as I usually do with these reviews. But we're going to kind of talk about a little bit of like the very, very light gameplay spoilers as we kind of go into here. I'm just going to start off a new save file from the beginning of the game. Yes, I did 100% the other save file. I'll get to that in a bit. Pretty basic premise, right? It is a 2D platformer game with the main mechanic being you have a drill. And the drill, of course, can do things like dig underground, but it can also do all other sorts of stuff. There's really not much of a story here. Essentially, you play, I don't even know the character's name. I imagine it's Pepper. Let me know in the comments below. I imagine that's the character's name. But you have all these different like narwhal enemies and creatures, and you have this other knight here as well who you really don't know much about at first, but they steal your treasure, and pretty much you're setting off trying to get it back. So nothing too intense for a story. I mean, you probably wouldn't expect that much of a story from a game like this, so it's not really a necessary thing. Just a little extra something to kind of build up the world and what's going on. But you land on an island, and you're trying to get your treasure back, is essentially what the deal is. And as you're kind of crossing the bridge here, you're like, oh no, they're cutting you loose. But oh, it turns out, look at that, there's a drill. Who would have thought? And then the adventure begins. So yeah. I believe, is this the first level? I believe so. Okay, so pretty much basic premise is that, yes, it's a 2D platformer with a drill. I gotta say the movement on the drill is super smooth. I don't know if you can see here, but it's a full 360-degree movement, which is super nice. And of course, you can do like your regular jumping, but you can also use your drill to take out enemies. You can use it to dig out treasure or other items that are locked behind walls. And you can do all the other sorts of stuff. And of course, we'll get to it in a bit. You can drill through dirt, which will actually give you quite a bit of momentum, and this is where the main gameplay elements come in. You can also boost while in dirt to kind of give you more of a speed bump, which is really good for speedrunning tactics, and it's kind of required in certain areas in specific levels, especially later on in the game. But you are collecting treasure as you go and defeating different enemies. The treasure is used for, there is a shop you can go to, which the treasure is used for like optional stickers as well as some upgrades. There also, if you can see in the top right, there is a collectible in each level, which is these 5 pirate coins. Think of like the star coins in like a Super Mario Brothers game or something. It's pretty much like that. You can see there's one above the first one there. That is also a currency that is used for buying cosmetics and sticker pads in the shop, which this game does have a whole sticker mode. It's kind of like this game's version of a photo mode. Think of like the assist trophy mode or this trophy mode in Smash Brothers, where you can kind of pose the different trophies on the backgrounds there. But like the core gameplay here is just so smooth. I really do like it a lot. The sense of momentum is really, really rewarding when you can just kind of get a flow going right. It can be very tricky. There's some hidden walls here too. If you see they're crumbled, you can kind of plow through there. So there is a lot to discover and explore. What I will say, and probably my biggest gripe with the game, is that it's the lanterns are checkpoints, by the way. My biggest gripe with the game, not necessarily a huge issue, but some people I could see saying this game is not worth its price. It's only $25. Like, it's super cheap. So definitely I would say it's worth it. But some people would say it's not worth it because the game is very short. There are only 4 worlds to go through, and each world usually has like 4 to 5 levels or so. And that is still that's like about 20 levels or so, right? That's a good amount of content. This game really hinges itself on replayability. There is a lot to do. There are some time trial modes you can go through later on as well. But at its surface, I mean, it's not a super long game, for sure. You know what I mean? You will get more out of this game if you do all the time trials like I ended up doing to get that 100%, go for the speedrunning tactics. But the thing is this game feels so good to speedrun. I'm not usually a big fan of time trials in games. You know, I'm thinking like Crash Bandicoot or other games with a similar idea. I'm usually not a big fan of those, just because it's like, well, I'm done with the main game. I'm just going to move on to the next game. But I don't know. I felt compelled to keep going. And just because, I mean, the main story is quite short, but then, like, you know, trying to perfect that run of, like, oh, I have to get my time in, you know, my time trial in just right within a certain amount of seconds, right? And, you know, this game isn't super hard with it. It did take me a few tries, like, quite a few tries, trying to, especially some of the later levels, trying to get the, just the right timing down in order to get the optimal collectibles for each level with the time trials. But, like, it's, for me at least, it's satisfying. Now, that's not everybody's cup of tea, so that might not be your thing. The game is definitely tricky. It's definitely a tricky game. Each world has a boss fight as well as levels here. I mean, this is just the intro level to kind of give you a glimpse of what the game's like. But you can see where the flow would come through just going through here. You know, I love these sections where you're just digging through a huge patch of dirt like this. I think it's really increases the momentum, and especially when you're trying to do the time trials, like speed running those sections is always really fun. And there's different themes to the worlds. Like here we have a cave, there are water levels, there's a bunch of ice levels, some like spooky-ish swamp levels. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's some boss gauntlets here where you can actually, or not boss gauntlets, but gauntlets of enemies where you'll have to like destroy enough of the enemies or their nests where they spawn to get a key to then use to unlock the door to progress. So there's a lot of stuff going on with these levels, right? And they get more complicated as they go. There are some really cool like level gimmicks especially later on. There's one in particular that I love, or a couple that I love, honestly, that I do not want to spoil. But there is stuff, it's not just fully drilling. You can use your drill to control some stuff, is all I will say. But it's really fun. And like the overworld map reminds me heavily of like a Yoshi's Island style of thing, which is really, really fun. So after you beat a level for the first time, you'll unlock the time trials. You can see there's 3 different times you can go for. The top one, of course, being the shortest. This here, it's a minute 35, then 1 minute 50, and 2:10. Based on when you complete it, you'll get certain objectives and stuff. So pretty basic setup. I'm gonna go. I don't know if I'm gonna do the whole level, but I'll go through at least a little bit. I don't want to spoil too much. It really is fun. If you're a fan of 2D platformers, I think you will enjoy this. I've heard some people, and I really don't think it's a fair comparison. They've tried to compare this game to Drill Dozer, which is one of the non-Pokemon Game Freak developed games. From what I've heard and can tell, it is not at all like Drill Dozer. This is a 2D platform. Just because they have a drill in common doesn't mean they're the same. It's a 2D platformer with a drill, and the drill, it's more of like something along the lines of like, it's really smooth, but it's a lot smoother than what I was thinking of. Something like the Drill Wisp in Sonic Colors, or like, for a 3D comparison, the drill ability in Kirby in the Forgotten Land, you know, so vaguely something like that. But really, it is its own thing, and it feels super smooth to control. Like, I mean, they kind of have to nail it in order for sections like this to be manageable, where you're just like really tight turns going from one direction to the other with a drill, like burying underground, and they nail it. The team absolutely nailed it with this, which I did not doubt for 1 second, but they've really done a good job here. But you can see there's like other obstacles to avoid. The water here will slow you down a little bit. It's tough. It is not an easy game, and this is only the second level. Especially some of the final challenges, the final levels can be pretty not ridiculously brutal. They could be a good challenge, I think. Nothing in this game at all felt unfair to me. Even the time trials did not. So all in all, I think I spent about 20 hours total with this game, which is more than I expected. But the main mechanics are so smooth to me. I just really ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought. And like I said, the soundtrack is great. It is on streaming services if any of you are interested and want to check it out. I do have it on Apple Music. But yeah, you can see like here. I don't know why they chose narwhals, but it's really funny. Oh, you know what? I guess it is because the horns, kind of like drills, you know? I could see it. There we go. Oh, all right. Come on. There we go. So it could be a little tricky sometimes, but sometimes I find myself like having to correct my path and like circle around a certain area in order to get whatever it is that I'm looking for. But honestly, that's probably good for now. Overall, just like really fun time with this game. I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. Of course, the pixel aesthetic looks great. And if you're a fan of 2D platformers, I mean, the main drawback to me is that it's pretty short. You know, it's really not a long game. But then again, what 2D platformer is really a long game. You know what I mean? A lot of these are short anyways, but it feels good to play. And it was very replayable in my opinion. Reminded me of the time I spent with Roller Drone, where the game just felt really good to play. It was quite short, but it really, if you're into replaying challenges, and especially doing the time trials, you will get a lot out of this game, and I think it's honestly one of the best in its genre in that regard. If you're just going through the main campaign, I could see that being a bit of a drawback to where it's super short. You could get through this game in like 5 hours, but it's so well made that it's hard for me to knock that against. Me, I really enjoyed my time with this. I was kind of surprised at how much I enjoyed my time with this game, but that is going to leave it for the non-spoiler section. I am going to kind of talk about a few more spoilery things here, so feel free to check out. I'll give you a few seconds in case you don't want to be spoiled on this game. All right, I'm going to go to my other save file and talk about some of the stuff here. Really cool gimmicks later on, I gotta say. I do love the title screen here, to be honest. But yeah, let me go into my 100% save file. So I did get all the stickers. I did all of the time trial levels, like I said. The final boss I was nervous for. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, but I ended up stocking on some extra hearts and then pushing through and getting all the stickers I needed. I love the mech item. Whatever you call it. I love the mech, right? When I discovered that for the first time, I believe it was in the final world. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was the only time it appears. It was just super duper cool. I mean, save the best for last, right? That was really fun to use. The Gatling gun, I also really, really like. That was another of my favorites. Some of the stuff like the snowmobiles were cool. Part of me does wish there were maybe a few more of those. Like a few more interactable elements. Like there were the minecarts as well. There was the snowmobiles as well. There was like the cannons you could shoot out of. There were a few things here and there, but part of me kind of wishes there were more. The graphic, I forgot to mention the grapple in the non-spoiler part. The grapple's great. I love a game with a good grapple, and that really added some depth as well. So nothing here felt like it overstayed its welcome, and especially when the main gimmick is just drilling, I could see that being the case. And maybe that's the reason why they kept it so short, because otherwise the drilling would just get repetitive and exhausting. But I think it feels great, so at least for me, it did not stay its welcome at all. I'll be honest, I didn't really mess around with the sticker mode at all. I was just kind of going after the collectibles here. I kind of just treated them as collectibles, and originally I wasn't planning on going for the 100%, but then I ended up doing it, and I was like, all right, let me do it. And then I did. Part of me almost wishes there was maybe another like special word you unlock after beating all of the worlds. I don't know, but like, it's still just really well made. This must be some kind of item, because I have no idea what that is. But I got all the other cosmetics. That's got to be some item I just didn't get. I don't know what that was, but it was a really fun time, the music's fantastic, as you can hear too. It's really well made. There's really not much else for me to spoil here, because like I said, this game doesn't really have a super story heavy premise at all. It's really just gameplay spoilers, and like I pretty much covered most of them. It's a nice breezy game. If you're looking for a quick little indie game to get through, which I was at the time, which is why this fit well, right? I played this game after I'd beaten Animal well. Then it's great. It honestly just has some replayability as well, so it's easy to go back to. And just move around. If they didn't nail the drilling and how smooth it is now, if they didn't nail that, then this would be so much worse of a game. But they absolutely nail the mechanics here. So it feels really fun to play. Very well crafted game, albeit short. But then again, that's a subjective complaint. I think it was a good length, and I'm glad I went through and did all the time trials, because while they were tricky, none of them. The most I probably at most restart a level like 15 times. Right, which is a lot, to be fair, but most of these levels are short. Some of the later ones are a little longer, but most of these are short. So I just ended up kind of going through these and playing them. But it is a good challenge. It is rewarding to go through and play, and not much else I can say. It's just a great game overall, honestly, I gotta say. So moving back to the main menu here, but definitely enjoyed my time with this game. Like I said, I would recommend it if you are a fan of 2D platformers. It has a little bit of a twist. Don't just go in go in realizing it's not super duper long. Don't expect a really long 2D platformer. There are longer 2D platformers out there, but then again, I don't know why you'd be playing this game for length in a way. But really solid mechanics. So if you're into that sort of thing, feel free to check it out. But with that is going to do it for this review video of Pepper Grinder. Let me know in the comments below if you've played this game before. What are your thoughts on it? Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Did you not? Or if you've never tried it before, definitely let me know if you're interested now. And hey, that's going to do it here. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will catch you all on the next video or live stream. Take care. Keep that grind going. Stay on the grind. Always play games. See you later.